Hey, it's the Nerdlings podcast, and for the purpose of critique, review, and education, and for the Free Use Act of 1976, which allows us to give you a salute to your music, whoever the hell you are, quit your bitching. This is the Nerdlings podcast, and I'm WC Chronicles, and on the phone is none other than the guilty party himself.
Jersey Mike at the Jersey Shore.
And
Happy Flag Day today.
Flag Day. Okay, Flag Day. It's Saturday morning as we get ready to record this podcast. Almost noon. It's going to be 108 here in LV. How's it doing for you there?
About 68 overcast. Looks like rain, but the shore sometimes gets these pockets. Well, like Oregon, you get the pockets of being by the beach or close enough to whereas it's just like that. And some days it's 20 degrees hotter offshore, 10 less where you are, 20 degrees less where you are. What are you going to do? Welcome to Jersey.
Welcome home.
About it. Welcome home.
Yeah. So, we are doing what we call Name That Tune. Let's play the...
From Hollywood, the music capital of the world, it's Name That Tune. And now, the star of our show, Tom Kennedy.
I don't know who Tom Kennedy is, but he's just in the soundbite, so I just leave him there.
Yeah, it's funny, you wonder who he is,
Yeah, I mean, the name's familiar. It's like Art Linkletter, somebody that we are in the realm of knowing, but we really don't know any of the truth and facts about it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, I want to say, I always give the podcast a title and a name or something that goes in rendition to what we're talking about. And this was an easy one. This one is called Swit, Sly, and Wilson with a mess around. With a little mess.
All right.
So I wanted to talk about, I think we should, before we jump into the tunes and whatnot, there's been a few famous people in the nerd world that maybe we got some stories or something funny we could talk about on this, all right? So May 30th.
Talking about that real fast, you know who died, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to go over with here. So
okay,
first is, because we haven't brought it up in the last few podcasts, and normally we do because it's good for the nerd world, because they were part of our growing up. Loretta Swit, Hot Lips Houlihan, 87, May 30th from MASH.
Yeah, I'll tell you, she put on some good things with Frank, the guy she was having the affair with.
Yeah.
She thought he was going to leave his wife, the doctor. I forget his name. They used to call him
Frank Burns, Major Frank Burns.
Yeah, Frank Burns.
But
boy, did what's his name? Alan Alda, Honeycutt, and BJ. They made good cuts on him, boy, didn't they?
Yes, and as a younger generation, we did not know a darn damn thing about the Korean War. And when there were syndications and reruns of the prime time of MASH, that's when we as nerds in the 80s or 70s, whatever, started to get our first impulse or learning lessons of what the Korean War was.
You know what's funny? I got 3 out of the words what MASH means. Mobile something surgical hospital.
Yes. I could look it up right now, but
is, though. Yeah, so it's something like that. So it's crazy. I never knew that. I looked that up because years ago, because MASH, like you said, we knew nothing about the Korean War, but when they brought that out in the 70s, that was a running show for 10 years. And that was one of the top shows of all time. Yeah,
the final episode of it was the highest rating episode still into television history today. And, the one story is that when the show was finally over, everybody went up to get up and go do their business. It was the highest demand on water, New York system water ever in history, because people went and flushed. People held it, and then they went and took care of their business at their toilets.
Well, look at some of the people on the show. You had Alan Alda. Mm-hmm. You had BJ Honeycutt, Linda North's husband. I'm trying to think. You had Jamie Farr.
I remember when I was in California with my family. This was about, I want to say, about 1979, I think it was. And we were driving to go to Universal Studios that day. My dad was driving us, my grandma and whoever were with us. And I knew we were getting close, and my dad says, all right, we'll be looking in the cars. You might see somebody famous. And I swear to God, up and down that... Correct, so what the actor that played Corporal Klinger, Maxwell Klinger, Jamie Farr, you already said it, his nose, you recognize that nose, that face. And there was a car that goes speeding. My dad is a speed limit observer, but this other car, there was Jamie Farr in the car next to us, driving himself, probably going to casting or whatever. So
wow, you know another famous nose from a long time ago. He started at Murray the Cop on
Al DeVecchio, yes, Arnold.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of Arnold. Al.
Al. I can't remember his real name, but
Arnold's Place. Yeah, and then Al DeVecchio. I think he was. He also played Murray the Cop on Felix. Oh my God, Odd Couple.
The Odd Couple. Yes. And now I want to touch on Hot Lips Houlihan. Okay, that name. Okay, so when you first got introduced to MASH when you're young, maybe 8 or 9 years old. Hot Lips Houlihan, that sounds like something about kissing a girl. You're at that age. Ew, I don't want to kiss a girl. That's disgusting, okay?
Yeah, I'm at that age now. I still don't want to kiss a girl.
But now, as MASH got a little bit more going near the last season, they started to put Hot Lips Houlihan more in suggestive things because for some reason, now I remember this in 8th grade, okay? You're 13 or maybe 14, you get a different idea of understanding of what Hot Lips Houlihan is, okay?
Yeah, you're not kidding. You want to see the size of her knockers, you know?
Yeah, well, put two and two together however you want. And I remember in 8th grade, specifically, I was in science class. I was sitting next to my friend Greg. But for some reason, we, as horny little teenage boys in 8th grade, I think it was 1981, 82, I can't remember. We were the next day talking about the scene where, I remember it was a scene where Loretta Swit was putting her pants on. You could see her in her army issue panties or whatever, sweating or whatever, and that did something to a certain genre of boys, and we really got into watching MASH when it was on weekly.
Yeah, you're not kidding. And I remember one episode where her and Alan Alda were doing a surgery in a battlefield zone where they would get hit, and she goes, my God, the enemy, I don't want to be raped. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There was nobody there, so there was, like you said, I'm serious, all kinds of genres. What was going on with that character? Lots of good stuff. I remember the syndicated episodes where they were playing practical jokes on Frank Burns, and they did some wonderful written practical jokes on him. Oh yeah. Remember Winchester? They used to play jokes on him too.
Yes.
Frank Burns' replacement.
That was it. MASH was a good show, and it still is.
Oh yeah.
All right, second on the passed away list, June 9th, Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone. He was 82.
I heard about that. That's crazy.
I don't know. I never met him, had no stories in my life I've nerded about him, but I remember that there was a TV show in the early 80s that was called, I think it was called Our Times. And it's a show where they took old 60s songs and made new, updated music videos for them.
Nice.
And that's the first time I ever heard the song Everyday People.
Wow.
And it made a lot of sense then,
Yeah.
And then later, Paul Revere, when I got into the Paul Revere and the Raiders as a band following them, Paul would have the band do a medley of Sly and the Family Stone hits and stuff.
Nice.
And that's where Higher and Higher and all those other great songs that he did and so forth.
Oh, there was quite a collage, I understand.
A lot of what? I'm sorry?
Collage of his music. They were very good.
Yes, they were. They were damn good. So, and it was just wonderful, I'd have to say. All right. Now brings us to the big and final one of the list. Little list I got here. June 11th, 82.
Brian Wilson. I can't believe that.
Brian Wilson. Yep. Brian Wilson.
You know what's weird about him? He had a connection with. Didn't he have a connection with John Stamos? And he went on Family Ties and stuff.
Yes, that's going to be part of the podcast here because, I think John Stamos had a little bit of adrenaline pump into the Beach Boys when he would tour and play with them. Don't you think so?
Oh, nice. Yeah. Because I remember cause I watched a little bit of that today. Jesse, his character on there, turned around was definitely into Elvis, the Beatles, definitely the Beach Boys, and I think they did like a tour, or he was on played backup or something.
He played drums for a lot of tour sets with them, and he was kind of a draw for them as well. So I think
yeah, that's good stuff.
I think he was a little instrumental of his showing up and showing expression of liking the Beach Boys. Really kind of put him back into the spot on the '80s and stuff.
You know what set him? What character set him into fame? Right?
What's that?
He played Blackie on General Hospital. I used to love that show.
Oh, yes.
I used to watch that all the time. So we're going way back. Demi Moore was on that show. A lot of people.
Rick Springfield was on the soap operas too.
Yep.
William Catt. William Catt, the Greatest American Hero, was in some of the soap operas.
Yep.
So now our podcast is featuring, we're going to be getting into what we decided last week, John Hughes films, but I want to start off our Name That Tune part of the podcast.
From Hollywood, the music capital of the world, it's Name That Tune. And now the star of our show, Tom Kennedy.
So, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be guessing a song about the Beach Boys, okay?
Awesome.
Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of the facts and then see if you can figure out what this is, okay? Because I think this is what's going to make this fun here a little bit for us, all right? So, there was a song that the Beach Boys did that did not have any involvement at the time because Brian Wilson was not available or not allowed, all right?
Oh, okay.
He wanted to do it, but this crooked lech named Eugene Landy wanted a production credit and co-writing credits to Kokomo. And if you know the history of this name Eugene Landy, he's kind of the guy that took over or managed or controlled Brian Wilson in what he did, okay? And I'm not getting into the controversy of it, but he's kind of the Disney villain in this whole thing, all right?
Oh, wow.
Okay? So, Brian Wilson did not participate in the release of this song, but he did get involved with the song in another kind of version with it. All right?
Ready to fire on me.
Okay, so what I got here for you is a cappella. I took the music away because that's going to give it away, but you're going to listen to what is this version and then see if you can fill in some blanks with it, okay? So,
all right, cool.
All right, here we go. A cappella, okay?
Aruba, Jamaica, con Sorena Blanca, Bermuda, Bahamas, Bahamas, Manana, San Tomás, Nemo Perurero, te sorprende el Kokomo, la tierra del amor que su moneda es la flor. Un país tropical, donde a piel se abraza el sol. Entre su mar, tú y yo enamorándonos. En Aruba, Jamaica, con Florida Blanca, Bermuda, Bahamas, Bahamas, Isla Mama, San Tomás, Montego, por el tiempos que viene pronto, vengo un beso de amistad, sus frente al mar, la perfecta química. Tus labios de sal son los que quiero amar. Atardecer, cóctel y música, me darán para tu amor, ser un gato en el trópico. Tuyo, Aruba, Jamaica, Florida Blanca, Bermuda, Bahamas, Bahamas, Isla Mama, San Tomás, Montego, por el Caribe, por el tiempos que viene pronto, vengo como serás. es mística y total. A la noche ven, va por adelante todo. Te puedes escapar de toda preocupación. Contigo no. Oh my God, vamos por la placa. Vamos en la palma, sentamos contigo. Por el corazón corriendo, que viene corazón. Oh my God, vamos por la placa.
Okay, is that enough of a clue for you, or what are your thoughts?
I was gonna go with Davy Jones.
No, we're talking about a Beach Boys song, not Davy
No,
Jones.
I know, but I could hear his vocals in that a little bit, I thought.
No, there's no Davy Jones in there.
Alright, then I'm gonna have to go with, oh my gosh, Mr. Latin Lover. You know, I'm trying to think of his name. Ricky Martin.
No Ricky Martin, no.
Oh my gosh. I'm not that good on this one.
All right, I'm gonna give it to you with the background music, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Aruba, Jamaica, con su arena blanca, Bermuda, Bahamas, vámonos mañana, San Tomás, Montero, nena te lo ruego, algo cerca de aquí, te sorprende como la tierra del amor que su moneda es la flor. Un país tropical donde la piel se aplasta el sol. Entre su mar, tú y yo enamoramos. En oh my God, con sol y la playa, Bermuda, Bahamas, vamos y la mama, San Tomás, Montego, llena de por el Caribe, floreciendo, que viene corazón, un beso de amistad, solo frente al mar, la perfecta química, tus labios de sal son los que quiero para amar. Al atardecer, cóctel de música, me dará nota de amor, ser un rato en el trópico. Oh my God, con sol y la playa, Bermuda, Bahamas, vamos y la mama, San Tomás, Montego,
Okay, that has got to help you, I bet. Please, let it help you.
Not at all. I have no clue. Unless it's because they sing Spanish, the one from Menudo.
Okay, you're right about the Spanish, but that is the Beach Boys version, the Spanish version of Kokomo.
Oh, I know that. I just don't know who's singing it.
Well, it's the Beach Boys with Brian Wilson.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say that. I know what it is.
Okay.
You can tell it's Kokomo. I thought I was guessing the artist. I thought it was a Spanish artist.
No, you were guessing. You were guessing that because the trivia question was Brian Wilson did not participate in the English.
Okay, it was the Spanish version of the Beach Boys. That's why I'm sitting here saying, Ricky Martin, this, that. Oh, I know it was Kokomo.
Okay, well, the English version that the Beach Boys do, no Brian Wilson, but in the Spanish version there is Brian Wilson in there.
Now, did they release that in America, or was it just like in Spanish countries?
Probably more in the Latin Spanish countries.
Gotcha. Okay. Good.
Okay, but we'll give you also here now. This is I pulled the clip up from Full House, where the full band is there with Brian Wilson.
Oh, nice.
So let's play that. Here it is. And they did that on the set of Full House back on November 18th, 1988.
Wow, that's around. That's when he graduated high school. So that's like almost 40 years ago.
Oh wow!
Years ago.
That's
37 years ago. Yeah.
Time passes. Time.
Yes, it does. But I'll tell you what, though. The funny thing is, you can be time capsule, like they say on television and stuff. That's an episode that's classic.
Yes.
That's got to be awesome.
Yes, and it's an episode. I think the Beach Boys were on Full House at least twice. They were, from what I found on YouTube.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah,
because Blackie or Jesse on the show, John Stamos was a hell of an Elvis fan, a hell of a Beach Boy fan.
Yeah, the thing is, when you go to Graceland, you are offered to take the tour and listen to through a headset with narration by John Stamos.
Oh, that was new. I didn't know that. Well, I went through that a long time ago, so I wasn't in that.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it now, but when I was there, which was
sure,
a long time ago,
with John Stamos.
Yeah. So you can listen to John Stamos.
Do you remember in those back little like his office? He had those $1,000 checks he wrote to everybody to pay their mortgages off.
Yes. It's. If you've never been to Graceland, go because it's got historical content and take the full meal deal. Don't take the half-assed tour guide.
We went on the tour. I didn't go on the plane though because we had to leave the next day early. But the Graceland itself, you got to go. Yeah,
I took the full meal deal, took the plane and everything. It was so fun to do. And what's even more fun now because they have a internet webcam in front of Graceland, so you can actually be in front of it, call your friends, tell them what the website is, here's the link, click on it now. I'm in front of Graceland, I am with the king.
Nice. And you know what's funny? Today there's no King's protests all over the United States. I wonder if they met Elvis.
Definitely not Elvis. Elvis is the king. But unlike, of course, Michael Jackson is the king of pop. Don't get the two crossed.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So anyway, I wanted to do that little tribute there to Brian Wilson. It's fun trivia to their. I mean, I doubt anybody has ever known about the Spanish version of Kokomo, which is deserving.
No, that's awesome. But what exactly is Kokomo? To go down and have some drinks and sit on the beach and relax and don't think?
I believe it's a specific beach down in Florida or in the Caribbean. I've never really.
Nice.
Maybe that's a deep dive we should do later in the future. Maybe.
Yes.
So now let's get to our part of the podcast, which we came up with last time, and that is we're going to be looking at John Hughes films for the Name That Tune editions.
We are ready for that. Let's get back to the 80s nostalgia.
Yes, so we are going to be diving into, because there's a lot of films, a lot of soundtracks, but we're focusing on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles by Steve Martin and John Candy, released in November 1987.
Do you remember that movie?
Yes, I mean,
My hands are between a pillow. That's not a pillow.
yes. So much, and then Steve Martin going off on the car rental agency lady.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Hey, do you know another thing about John Candy? He was in Home Alone. He was one of the polka kings in the back of the truck. He's been in a lot of things too.
Yeah, because since he did a lot of John Hughes films, he made a lot of cameos and everything together. You know, John. You know.
Don't forget. How can we forget going into the '80s? National Vacation. They took him on the roller coaster hostage at Wally World.
That's it. Yes, he was the security guard there. He made so many cameos, but.
Oh my gosh!
So
you know, one of my all-time John. I'll go. Go ahead. Shoot.
No, I was just go. No, go ahead and say your memory. Share your memory.
No, one of my favorite John Candy movies of all time is Uncle Buck.
Yeah, another classic. I think.
Oh my gosh! With all the disguises, that was awesome.
We might be coming on to another song from a John Candy movie in the John Hughes films, but the song we're looking at here is "The Mess Around."
All right.
And if you remember this part of The Mess Around, it's the song that's playing. Steve Martin is passed out in the car, and John Candy is basically improvising, hand motions, being silly, lip syncing to the song as it plays on the radio.
Yep, then he went off the road.
Then it goes off the road, yes. So, we're going to play the actual movie clip, and the question is, you're going to have to guess who is this original version from this song playing. It was the performer, and it was released, actually a minor hit for him in June 1953. All right?
Oh, wow.
So,
okay, ready to go on that one.
And here's your clue at the end of the track, because this is what John Candy is doing, imitating in the car and everything. You'll hear the DJ. I bumped up the volume. You'll be able to hear the DJ say who the artist is. Okay, there's a clue for you. Here we go. 90 seconds or so of it.
You can talk about the pit, barbecue, the band was jumping, the people too. Mess around. They're doing the mess around. They're doing the mess around. Everybody doing the mess around. Now, when I say stop, don't you move a peg. When I say go, just shake your leg and do the mess around. I declare, do the mess around. Now let me have it there, boy. Now you got it, boy. Yeah! Go on, mess around. Now this band's gonna play from 9 to 1. Everybody here's gonna have some fun doing the mess around. They're doing the mess around. Everybody do the mess around.
That was Ray Charles doing the mess around. Looking outside, the weather's beginning to clear up now. Hope you're enjoying the evening. Coming up on...
Okay. Take your guess.
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles, yes, that is the original Ray Charles who did that cover.
Wow,
It's not a cover,
awesome.
his song.
Thanks for giving me the answer on that, but that was awesome. I was going to say Fats Dominoes, but that was around the same time, the same type of voice.
Well, even if you remember, in Family Guy, the Star Wars episode, they have the driver of one of the, not the AT-ATs, but the smaller versions, and they do a spoof on the John Candy version, improvising and everything, to where eventually he crashes the Star Wars vehicle in Family Guy.
I don't remember that, but that's great. Ray Charles, wow. He was blind, but he was conceived by rape.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ray Charles was a baby of rape. Yep.
Wow, okay, that's a big one.
Yeah. Oh, believe it or not, I know a little bit about something and not about nothing. And I know a little bit less about something more than nothing. I don't know. But seriously, yeah, Ray Charles was mom didn't give him up, and God bless him for that, because he Wow.
He did a lot. His songs are in a lot of movies, but it was definitely in the John Hughes film in that part. So,
Nice.
our next one is going to be a cover version of a person who sang it in 1960 from an album he put out called I Got the Right to Swing. So you're guessing who is singing this version of the Mess Around, okay?
Okay.
Here we go.
How you can talk about the pit barbecue. The band was jumping, the people too. Ah, they mess around. They're doing a mess around. They're doing a mess around. Everybody doing a mess around. Everybody's gone, you can bet your soul. Do the woogie with a steady roll. They mess around. They're doing a mess around. They're doing a mess around. Everybody doing a mess around. Now when I say stop, don't you move a peg. When I say go, just shake your leg and do the mess around. Do the mess around. Mess around. Everybody do the mess around. Now go ahead and mess around. Play from 9 to 1. Everybody here better have some fun doing the mess around. I dig the mess around. Let's see the mess around. Everybody do the mess around. Now you see that girl with that diamond ring. She knows how to do the thing called the mess around. I declare she can mess around. Mess around. Everybody doing a mess around. Mess around.
Any guesses?
Chuck Berry?
No, not Chuck Berry. That's a nice.
Domino?
That's a nice guess. Those are the two nice guesses. But this person was sometimes when touring and shows were available, he was part of the Vegas Rat Pack.
Chubby Checker?
Nope, not Chubby Checker. Not part of the Rat Pack.
Sammy Davis Jr.?
Bingo! You got it. Yes.
Really? Wow, I couldn't tell that because that's a lot different than the Candyman.
Much different.
Candyman, wow, way different. Holy shit, I wouldn't even have known that.
Yeah, from his album, I Got the Right to Swing, 1960.
Wow.
All right, we got one more version of it. You know, there's no females vocals have ever done a cover of the Mess Around, which I think is a shame. There's a lot
You're
of
not
good
kidding. Oh, Madonna could have did it. Mariah Carey could have did it. Patti LaBelle could have did it. I'm just saying, delving into different things. Pat Benatar could have did it.
Donnie and Marie could have done it when they had their show.
Yeah, Donnie and
Kelly
Marie,
Clarkson could have done it.
Yeah.
They could have featured it on one of the show Glee, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of potential there, but anybody's listening, any female popular singers, there's a tip of the hat. Take it. I don't care.
You're not kidding.
All right, so
that's a good one.
The next one comes from a group from the mid-60s, 1965. The album is called Tour and something. I'm not going to give you the title of the album because that might give it too much away, okay? So here's this version of it, all right? 1965. guesses on that
The
one?
Vogues.
Not the Vogues. That's a good guess because that's mid-60s group.
Then I'm gonna have to go with. Oh my gosh. What's the hell's the name of that other group I'm thinking of?
I'll throw you a bone, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
This, you know what we can do? We can make it like this, like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where you get the choices. You can say, "Throw me a bone."
Throw me a landline bone.
Let me throw you a bone. The bone is they had the song "We Gotta Get Out of This Place" as a hit.
We gotta get out of this place. I have no clue. 65's a tough year. I wasn't even born. So it's like, the only reason I said the Vogues were, they sang at my aunt's wedding.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, that's a long story. So I don't even know. The Duprees?
I'll give it to you. It's the Animals.
Oh, okay. That's well, you know, see, it's a good thing. It's a weird thing. That's more stuff you hear on Gilligan's Island. You know what I'm saying? The originals, or people will come on do guest appearances and sing music and stuff. That's before my time, so I'm okay with not knowing that one.
That's okay. And it comes from an album called Animal Tours and Animal Tracks, 1965.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you weren't even born then.
I was not born. Nope, not till
That's
this.
what I'm saying, before our time. So hey, we are delving into different mindsets capsules. I like that.
Yeah, that's why, you know, most of our version podcast of the name of that tune, we get in full range of the decades. But we've been kind of limited. But that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. Sly and the Family Stones. We're going on their merit. Rest in peace.
That is it for the podcast, and that's our first edition of the John Hughes films that we're diving into to integrate into the summertime here for us.
And this is the summer of 2025. What we want to do for this year is just bring back different decades through the cultures of positivity, like from the 45 to 75. What they used to have also, like a 78 too, right?
78, 8 tracks, cassette singles,
Oh my God!
everything.
You know what my first 8-track tape? You know what my first 8-track was real fast on the way out? Was Popeye the Sailor Man from the original movies with our buddy who passed away, hung himself, God rest his soul, Robin Williams.
Oh my gosh. The first 8-track I ever found was I was driving down to the Oregon coast from Albany and Corvallis, and there was this dumpy little town you go through. I can't remember it, but it had this one of those forever permanent garage sales in the yard, okay, where they put blue tarps on it at night and then uncover it. I found a bootleg copy of one of the early beginnings of Paul Revere and the Raiders albums.
Wow, that must have been pretty cool. I mean, I know it's illegal, but just to have something.
Yes.
They were, they sang, and during the era of bootlegging and stuff, you know what? You want to talk about bootlegging? Do you remember a show called What's Happening?
Yes, What's Happening with Rerun.
They had Rerun. Turner supposedly on the Doobie Brothers. They paid the guy. The guy was going around doing having people record it, right?
Yes.
He goes, "Let me hear the tape." It was Rerun chewing popcorn.
It was such a great... I actually saw that episode when I was in Tonopah on vacation. I was back at the hotel in the evening, and they played that rerun of the What's Happening, and it was, oh my gosh, that was so funny because I've through my life I've snuck my tape recorder into so many concerts.
Oh wow! I'll tell you, that's funny.
Now you mentioned Rerun. I'm trying to remember what the name of the group he was with that taught him to dance, because basically it was...
Oh, I think it was something Breakers or something.
Yeah, something Breakers, but it was the group that Tony Basil was with, because she basically taught that group all the rhythm, all that lock, clock, and block, or whatever you call it.
What was it called? Lock, not lock and load, lock and pop.
Pop and lock, yeah. So, and of course, again, I gotta say, it's Tony Basil, a graduate from Las Vegas High School. When you watch the music video for Hey Mickey, she is wearing her cheerleader outfit from Las Vegas High School in that music video.
Want to hear about squirrel serendipity? I went to the beach the other day, and there's a woman 80 years old I know, and her name is Mickey. She was wearing a 2-piece.
Oh my, that's bravery.
Yep.
Well, let's stop right there and call the podcast end now. And next time we'll do some more John Hughes film summer movie soundtracks for Name That Tune.